close the door.
Hello.
Hi. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Friday with Friends. We are so happy to have you here today. Our Friday with Friends, this video world is all about providing an opportunity for anyone in our world to ask questions and to really just utilize us as your real estate resource. We love what we do. We love representing buyers and sellers constantly, all the time, all day, every day. And we want you to know that we're here for you. Quick reminders, #live if you're watching this live. Be sure to comment when you pop on and say hey. #replay if you're watching this as a replay so we don't miss any comments and we can go back and answer any questions or respond to anything there. And help us by sharing this video big time. If you share it, we're able to spread the word even more, so we would absolutely love it if you could just do us that big favor to share it.
Share. I don't know why I did it. I don't know why I do it.
All right, so
want to jump right into it?
Yeah, well, and I think we can jump right into it. What our topic for today is what's my home worth? And especially this time of year, going into the spring market, so many people are saying, hey, how do I know it? I don't know if I'm ready to sell. I might want to sell. What are the steps? And really they want to know what my house is worth. And that can kind of start to give them some ideas of should we consider listing it? Should we hold off? Should they put on addition instead? Should they make upgrades instead? So figuring out what your home is worth really helps solidify and nail down the direction that you should be going with your house, or that can help people make those decisions. So what we'll start with, I guess, is within our team, Abby and Megan run the whole listing, selling side of our business. So maybe what we'll do is we'll start by kind of giving you the input of that, get some people to pop on as well, and then we'll get right into it.
Perfect.
So like a plan?
Perfect plan.
Okay.
So as Mandy said, I handle the listing side of our team. So we have the team approach to real estate where we all specialize in one thing that we're awesome at and don't do anything else. So for me, it's the listing side. And then Megan Simmons is our rock star listing coordinator. So she really helps us with getting the pictures scheduled, getting the signs ordered, getting our marketing materials done. She's the creative brain behind everything, and that really allows us to kind of be like a well-oiled machine between Megan and myself. So I kind of handle the market research, communicating with the client, different things like that, while Megan handles pretty much everything else in my whole life.
She really does.
She really does.
I'm blushing! she's blushing in the back.
Right. Perfect. So I feel like we have a lot of people on here. Want to say hi to a few? What do we have?
Dara,
Heidi. Who else? Heidi. Haley. Hey, girl.
Hey.
Megan, Ash, thanks for joining. I think I saw a few more on there. I can't tell.
And what we'll do is we'll probably wait until we'll do a bunch of comments all at once, because if you didn't notice from the previous time, choosing your team was the best thing ever. Thanks, Susan. We love you so much.
We're so bad at this. We're getting better.
We get distracted by the comments, so we're going to try to speak, and then we'll kind of go through the comments then. But Please comment. Okay, so let's get right into it.
Okay.
So what is my home worth, and how are we going to be able to help you identify that so you can make the best decision for your family, for yourself, moving forward to make some real estate decisions? So Abby, if I were to call you up and say, hey, I'm thinking about selling, but I really need to know what my home is worth, where do we go from there?
So the first thing that we like to do, and we always say it's never too early to start. We might as well come in, at least chat about it, allow you to understand the process, because a lot of times someone has bought a home, but they've never sold a home, and that's a totally different process. So what we like to do is just sit down, answer any questions that they have, get a game plan moving forward, and most importantly, create a to-do list. What that is, okay, let's touch up the paint on this wall. Let's maybe get a new appliance here. Let's do these little things. And then over time, let's say they're a year or 2 years out, we can prioritize that list to say, okay, this is our most important. This is going to get us a return on investment. This just might make the buyers happy, something like that. And we prioritize that list so they can slowly but surely get through it. And then when they are ready to go, they don't have much work to do. So we can kind of get that process started for them early if they're not ready to sell tomorrow.
And what I remember you always talking about too is we have some of our clients that are really our type A clients. They have this. Give us a like or a love if this is you. You have an itemized, prioritized list of, okay, I need to change this light bulb. I need to paint this room. I need to be doing all of these things. And people want to say, like, what's important? What's on the top of that list? What's on the bottom of that list? But then also we have other people who say, I have no idea. Help me create that list. So when Abby goes through, she's able to say, yes, this is definitely going to help. This is not going to help. And really can prioritize them, can put them in order. And then you can feel confident, like, okay, I have that game plan and I feel good about it.
And that's always why we say it's never too early to start, because there might be, a lot of things that you walk by every day and, don't really care about, but it's important for a buyer to see those maybe updates or, maintenance items. So we always say it's never too early to start. Just get kind of cracking away at that to-do list. And then whenever you are ready to go, you have taken care of all that.
Exactly. And then I think the other thing too is during your meeting, what you always talk to them about the process, and you do a little bit of education too. So tell us a little bit about what when you are talking to someone and you're having that first meeting at the house, just learning a little bit about their situation. Any big tips or general advice that you typically offer during that consult for them?
We have a lot of tips, and that's something that we get into with our clients. Whether it's silly things like clear off your refrigerator, take the magnets down, or hide your trash can, little things like that. But we also have a lot of bigger items like, okay, this is a really desirable paint color for this room.
Yes.
Here's a contractor that we have that we would recommend to do that work. Lots of different things. We get into staging, we get into a bunch of different stuff that we work with on that to-do list. Some of the items are bigger, like paint or, replacing this item in the kitchen, things like that. But some are really small too, like you said, where, grab a magic eraser and go to town on the baseboards, getting them looking nice and white.
It's amazing what a magic eraser can do on that, so you don't have to paint everything.
Yeah.
And I guess the last thing that I'll hit on in terms of what this first meeting looks like too is it's also our opportunity as a team to hear you. We want to hear, what makes you excited about moving? What scares you about moving? What questions do you have about it? What about the finances? In terms of cost that it's going to take you to sell. So with that, we can give some guidance just in terms of, okay, on average, it's probably going to take us, this amount of time to get your house actively listed on the market. Once we get it on the market, our average, it's probably going to take us this many days for us to be able to get it under contract and then to close. And those kind of just basic general timelines are also provided at that meeting. Great. So then Abby can kind of backtrack to say, if you want to be in your new house by this month, let's, have the painting done by this month so we can get it on the market, or so we can take pictures so we can get it on the market, and really have that timeline to start brainstorming too as well.
Great point.
Thanks so much.
Great point.
I just stalk her all the time. Okay, so let's say that we did this initial consult. So you came over to my house. I didn't know if I wanted to list, and you gave me some basic general pointers, and we started to make a game plan. What are the next steps?
So the next steps this is really when we dig in even more to our research and the market.
And at this point, we've hired you.
Correct.
Hired you as our realtor.
Yes.
Okay.
So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about the type of market that we're in. So this is a question that I get a lot is, what's the market like? And we do business in, Monroe County and Ontario County. So we really know the market well throughout the area, and that's really important to really be able to dig in and understand that. But we can have a buyer's market, which means that there's a lot of houses on the market, and buyers have a ton of inventory to choose from. It's really supply and demand, going back to high school economics.
Good old economics. Hi, Mr. Richardson.
Yeah. We'll have to email it to him. And then a seller's market is when there's low inventory and a ton of buyers. We are still in a seller's market now, which is awesome, but we do see that shift all the time. So that's something that we're keeping an eye on for our clients to be able to say, this is the situation, because obviously that's going to make a huge impact. So that's really the first thing that we talk about is we do a lot of research for them, and we discuss what the market's currently like.
Okay, that makes sense. And I've even had it, I mean, yes, in generally the spring market this past year, 2017, the spring market was a total seller's market.
Yeah.
It was to the point where there was like 10 offers that were getting written. It was crazy. And then it even just changed into less of a seller's market. So sometimes it's seller's market, less of a seller's market. It really changes with the season.
Yep, without a doubt, yes. And, there's a lot of people that say, well, should I put my house up in the winter? There's still snow on the ground. And really, there's so many schools of thought. Of course, the spring market is the hottest market. That's when the buyers are out there looking. But in the winter, you might not have as many buyers, but baby, those are the motivated ones.
If they're looking in the winter, yeah.
Those are
they're
the
trekking
ones
through the
that
snow.
are going through the snow to check out the houses. So despite the market, we're there to really, advise our clients on, what we think the best timeline would be for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sounds great. And the one thing that I'll talk about seasonality too with listing with listing the home is you do have to think about your style of house. So if you have a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, that's probably a family house. So would I really want to list my house the first week of school?
Right.
No, because families during that time period, they're doing back to school shopping. They're all of those crazy things that are going on in a family. You have to think, who would my typical buyer be? Where am I going to get the most amount of buyers for my house? And what does their life look like right now? And we really try to stay, in conjunction with that ideal buyer and what their schedule is like for time of the year.
Or like spring break. Or something
Spring
like that.
break, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, this is all stuff this is what our brains look like. Your brains aren't supposed to look like this. We're just kind of giving you an inside scoop into what goes into what my home is worth. Awesome. Which, just as a recap, is what we're talking about today.
Yes. So if you guys are just tuning in, I see so many. Oh, Kelly, hey girl. Hi, Linda. There are so many things that go into pricing your house, and the topic of conversation today is about what is my home worth, so that people can get a little bit of an insight as they're deciding what to do with their house, if they're considering listing this year, next year, later in the year. That the value of your house is so important to make that decision and what you're going to be able to get for it. So we just talked about how the first step is having Abby come over to do a really basic general overview where she's hearing your needs, listening to needs, and then also advising you to make a game plan. So then after that, the next step is once we get hired and ready to go to work, that's when we start digging into reviewing the research and the market.
Yep.
And then once we kind of do the general market and general thoughts, what about after that?
So then we're really digging into the comparables, which is, of course, a word that everybody hears, comps. No one really probably understands what it means, but that's our job. So there's really 3 different types of comparables. There's active, which are houses that are currently on the market. There's pending, which are properties that are under contract but have not sold, actually closed yet. And then there's sold or closed comparables. The sold ones are definitely our strongest comparables. Those are ones that within the last 365 days, they were on the market and successfully got under contract and sold with a buyer. Mm-hmm. So those are the best ones because they were in our current market. And, I want to take a step back. What is a comparable? We'll talk a little bit more generally about it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
That is a house that's similar to ours. Things that we look at right away is location.
Sorry, you can look at me.
Is location, square footage, and style of home. As Mandy said, we're not going to compare a 2,000 square foot 4-bedroom large colonial to a 1,000 square foot ranch. Those are, complete opposites, complete opposite buyers. So it's not, blank, easy comparables. We're really digging into those, but those are really the general ideas. So as I said, solds are definitely our best. Pendings, then we get a little bit of an idea of, okay, these ones just went under contract a month ago. So that's really current in the market, but we don't know what they've sold for yet. So that's something a lot of people don't know is it can go under contract at $100,000, but we won't know until the attorneys sign the paperwork what it actually closed for. Mm-hmm. So it's our job to stay in touch with those agents to say, hey, what did it close for? Can you give me any scoop?
Sometimes we get the scoop.
Most of the time we don't.
Well, because if the deal doesn't close, if that house doesn't close, and they did say go $10,000 under asking, they want to position their sellers in the best position to remarket that property and to try to even get more money. So that's the logistics behind that.
Yeah. So we're, obviously looking at solds, we're looking at pendings, and then we're looking at actives. And actives are something that we're constantly staying on top of because that's your active competition. in the market. If you're going to list your house tomorrow, we want to know, are there other comparables out there that I have to compete against, or my listing has to compete against?
That when a buyer pulls up a search, they're going to that house first and then our house after, or vice versa. But they're seeing both those houses, and how do we compare?
Yep. So we want to be, as aggressive as possible to really, and if you're listing, now, we want to look at them in 6 months. We're going to reevaluate all of the comparables to say, how has the market changed? What's now my active competition?
Yep. And the key with comparables for us is to really use them to say, are we better, or are we... We're back! Sorry, everybody. Slight Wi-Fi issues. Okay, is that good? Yes. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Kristen. So with comparables, the big piece is for sold. Oh, are we back now? Thank you for those of you holding on. Okay, so comparables. So we talked about our solds, pendings, and our actives, and the whole point is to be able to compare them to our house. So the other things that we need to think about too is a lot of times people think that, okay, I have a 1,000 square foot house and I just put in a $5,000, a thousand square foot ranch that's $100,000, and I just put in a $5,000.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Keep going. $5,000 stove.
$5,000 stove. Can I sell it for $105,000? And that's just not. It's not reasonable. It's not right, because we can't. It doesn't work totally like that. So for us to be able to say, what is a value add? If you're adding an extra bathroom, huge value. If you're adding extra square footage, huge value. Yep. Those are the kind of conversations that are important when you're looking at comparable to comparable.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. And then what I will say lastly with actives, when we're comparing pendings and solds, we really make sure that they're truly comparable. So we're not going to compare your house with a house that's 500 square feet bigger, because price per square foot, that's not apples to apples. We're not going to compare your house to one necessarily in a different school district. Sometimes we need to stay within that specific neighborhood. You guys know the neighborhoods that are neighborhood specific. You get off that street and it's not as valuable. So we really break down within the market, how do we really hone in on valuing your property based off of comparables that are in that specific neighborhood. And then the other part to it is actives, we open up a bit more, because in this market right now, there's not a whole lot of inventory. Would you agree?
Correct. Yeah.
There's not a lot of inventory. So we have buyers that want to look in Canandaigua, but they're expanding their search to Geneva. We have buyers that want to buy in on the east side, and they literally will buy anywhere. They will buy Penfield, Pittsford, like anywhere, Parrington, just because they need that flexibility. So if any listing can pop up. So in those situations, when we're looking at actives, we typically are a little bit broader when it comes to comparables, so that we can take into account what a buyer who may be a little bit more flexible might be looking for, and making sure if there's two buyers that are going to come into this marketplace in the next week, we want to be the house that buyer picks.
The most desirable, yeah. And there's so many things that we're talking about, and really it's our job to know these things, and it's our job to understand the market. And we always say with my sellers, we don't know what to do, and that's okay. You're gonna sell maybe 3 houses in your life, and we did this how many times last year?
158.
158. So we've done it, and we know it's our job to really dig in and understand the market and run the comparables for you, and really be your support system here. So this is our job, and we just like to give you guys a little sneak peek into it. But we'll be here to guide you every step of the way, so you really understand what your home is worth and why it's worth that.
Exactly. So I guess that's it. Is there anything else? Hi, Stephanie. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments. Sorry about the Wi-Fi issues, but we hope that gives you insight. If you are wondering what your house is worth, those are the steps. It's a quick call to us to be able to come over and to chat with you about what you're looking for, about how we can help, about to create that game plan for you to best serve you, so that you can make the best decision for your family. And then we'll go through those steps that we'll talk about, review the market and review the comparables, the actives, the pendings, and sold, to really identify what your house is worth, to really give you all the information you need to, like I said, make that decision.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning
in. We will be seeing you soon. We would love to be your real estate resource for any needs, whether it be questions about buying, selling, any sort of referrals that you might need for your house, loan officers, refinancing, anything like that. Know that we're here for you, and we would love to get to work for you. Thanks so much.
Bye, guys.